Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. With the name of Allah, most merciful, benefactor, most merciful, redeemer. I bear witness there is no God but Allah. I bear witness that Muhammad ibn Abdullah 1400 years ago is his messenger, his slave, servant, and not only a prophet, but a human being. As with all Jummahs, we're going to open with the Quran, or words from the Quran. But before we even get into the Quran, I want to let you know that this Jumu'ah, or the topic in Jumu'ah, is, who am I? So with that being said, we're going to start with Surah 2. Al-Baqarah. Alif Lam Mim. Zalikal Kitabu La Rayba Fi Huda lil Muttaqin. Alladina Yukminuna Bigaibi Wa Yukimuna Salata Wa Min Razaqnahum Yunfikun. The first three letters in Al-Baqarah are allegorical letters. Alif, Lam, Mim. It says, this is the book, and it is guidance, sure without doubt, to those who fear Allah, who believe in the unseen, and are steadfast in prayer, and spend out of what we have provided for them. Let's go back to, like I said, what the topic is, or should be. Who am I? That's a good question. Some of us says, or some of us say, I am a Muslim, meaning I am one who is submissive, one who's at peace, one who says that they are in tune with their nature, or with nature itself. Some say, I am Abdullah. Abdullah, from the word ab, meaning slave, meaning submitting, meaning voluntarily giving yourself to Allah, if you Abdullah. But Allah doesn't need nothing from us. Remember that. So when you call yourself Abdullah, what are you saying? You say you serving who? If you say you want to serve your Lord, or you want to give the pleasure to Allah, how do I do that? We started with Al-Baqarah. This is the book, and it is guidance sure without doubt to those who believe in the seen and unseen. This is the book that was given to Prophet Muhammad as a guide to humanity. Again, a guide. His life is the guide. The way he lived his life, Muhammad ibn Abdullah 1400 years ago. Who was Muhammad? Muhammad was an orphan. He knew that. Some of the people knew that. But we're going to go back to the question, who am I? And I asking you that question, who are you, as saying, who am I, history? They're asking the question, who am I made up of? We say that we follow Muhammad. And Muhammad is the prophet. We say we follow his hadith, or his sunnah, the way he lived his life, the way he treated who? His family, the way he treated his brothers, the way he treated the sisters, the way he treated what? Everyone. Back to humanity. Back to what the law says. So, again, who am I? Am I a Muslim? Am I the one who's bringing the peace? Am I the one who's at peace? Am I the one who's, what they say, inclined with the natural order of things. Let's use nature as it is, the natural order. Allah created everything in the universe. The sun, the moon, the stars. He allowed the earth to grow trees. He allowed us to have animals so we can have fruit, vegetables, and nourishment. But all of them have their what? Their natural order. They all follow a natural order. Let's dig a little more. Am I a slave? Remember, Abdullah, servant. Some people call a servant a slave. Slave has a lot of meaning, but let's go a little forward. Am I an orphan? Am I a part of the example of Muhammad? Those are good questions. Let's go back. Or better yet, let's go in the Quran for a second. Let's go to Surah 96. Surah 96, I'm not even going to look too hard. I hope I can run into it. In this Quran, I just use this other one. Allah says, which I don't have to look it up. I really understand it. It says, Ikra. Bismi al-Hadi Kola. Kalakal min Allah. Ikra. Rabuka al-Akram. Alama bil Kalam. He asked the prophet. The angel came to him with the revelation. Prophet Muhammad was in the cave. What was the revelation? Read. When you read the Hadith, he shook him. He said, I don't understand. I don't know what you're talking about. Some of the Hadith said Prophet Muhammad left, went back home, talked to his wife. She said, Muhammad, what's wrong? I thought you was resting. He went back. Again, reawoken. Read. Okay? So, what was Muhammad reading? He wasn't pondering on the sun. He wasn't pondering on the moon. He was reading the signs in creation. Revelation told him to read. What is the signs? Mankind. He was reading what was happening in his environment. He was in tune, or like you said, the nature of what was happening to the people in his environment. There was a lot of stuff going on at that time. Oppression, slavery, discrimination. People was being tortured, persecuted. People was burying their female children alive just because they wanted a male son to have someone to keep their name or the chain on the family line, because that was important. That showed a strength. This is just some of the things that are going on at that time. If you read the nature or you read the environment today, we have a whole bunch of these things going on in different ways. What has man done that changed? Nothing. But when you read the book, you see that we are given a task to change some of those things. Not just in our life, but for the lives of others. They enact laws, legislation, and everything, and they said, oh, we're going to emancipate. They talk about emancipation in the Hadith. They talk about emancipate. What is emancipate? I don't know. But I went and looked at the dictionary to find out how they describe emancipate. How they describe how to remove someone from a different area. The word in Merriam Dictionary says emancipate, to free from, restrain, control, or power of another, especially to free from bondage. So there's a big thing going on about emancipation, bondage. It's a big thing going on because we want to celebrate, what, Juneteenth, the freedom that was given to someone, a people that was slaves in 1865, that they didn't get to recognize it until 2 years later. But they was signing emancipation. Lincoln said that we're going to free the slaves so that they can do what? Help us win a war for economics. To help us win a war to be in control of other people still. We needed the commerce, the money. But that's not what this is about. But slavery, if you look at history, even in the time of Prophet Muhammad, that's what it was about. It was about having people enslaved to do work for them. Having people enslaved to use, or how you say, take away that which they own, because due to war. My tribe is bigger than your tribe, so we came over and showed that we're strong enough to take your property. We destroyed, we killed your husband, we might have killed a couple of your sons. So we knew that you have no way of coming back to claim that which is given to you. But Allah tells you that's against His rules. Taking the property of someone else, especially when you are in charge of that person. Yes, in the Quran it says, we understand that people have slaves in one sense, but He asks you to free them slaves. Allah asks you to treat them equal or better. But sometimes your condition was able to make them the same as yours, or you had to keep it where they had it before. So, in understanding or even studying that, it tells us something else. Allah says in the Quran that, and I love this part, in Surah 4, ayats 4 through 7. Or better yet, 7 through 10, this is even easier. From what is left by parents and those nearest relative or related, there is a share for men and a share for women, whether the property be small or large. Determine a share, but at the time of division, other relatives or orphans or poor are present. Feed them out of property and speak to them words of kindness and justice. Let those disposing of an estate have the same fear in their minds as they would have for their own if they had left a helpless family behind. And let them fear Allah and speak words of appropriate comfort. Those who unjustly eat up the property of the orphan eat up a fire unto their own bodies, and they will soon be enduring in a blaze. Allah just reminding you, not only in the Quran, but it's a hadith that was laid by Prophet Muhammad. The same thing about you treating the orphan, the slave, and anybody else in that manner that you was charged with authority over fairly. And when you do not, then you have to worry about the hereafter. You have to worry about the commandment that He said that He's going to put you in a fire. Now, you don't have to go and say, oh, this is what it is, a fire. That commandment between you and Allah is bigger than you understand. Why? Not only because this is the book and it is God to show that doubt, but Allah also made commands to us. And He told us in this book. And this is in Surah 2. In 177. And most of y'all may have heard this, most of y'all read this before, but one thing about it, it's always a reminder of who we are. And this says what? It said it's not righteousness that you turn your face toward the east or west, but it's righteousness to believe in Allah and the last day, and the angels, and the book, and the messenger, to spend of your substance out of love for Him, for your kin, for orphan, for the needy, for the wayfarer, for those who speak, and for the ransom of slaves, to be steadfast in prayer and practice regular charity, to fulfill the contracts which ye have made, and to be firm and patient in pain or suffering and adversity, and throughout all periods of panic. Such are the people of truth and Allah-fearing. Allah just told you your deen. He just told you what you're supposed to practice. He just called you not just a Muslim there, he called you a believer. He just told you your 5 pillars of faith. He just told you that regardless of what you do, these are acts of faith. These are acts of iman. These are acts that you, me, and those who believe in his community are supposed to follow. He outlaid it in this book, in this one surah. This one little ayat. He asks you to command and do. But in doing some of those things, you have to understand. Allah reminds us what? He reminds us of prayer. Often. Almost every day for those who have to be able to practice it. He asks you to do the salat, the zakat. He reminds you that charity is close to him. He didn't say it's for him. He said it's close to him. Giving of your substance. Those of you have. He reminds you that the angels is recording your blessings. He's recording your deeds. He reminds you, right here, you know what I'm saying, that faith is important. Some people use the word faith. Some people use the word strength. Yes, faith is strength. Salat helps you have strength. Zakat helps you have strength. All these is a reminder of your duty, your commitment, your, what do you want to say, act of worship. Yes, because you said what? Ashadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashadu anna Muhammadur Rasulullah. Your act of following what? Not just deity, but following Muhammad. Following a path. Following the Quran. Saying that you worship Allah. Assalamu alaikum. As with everything we do, we read from the Quran and we say good words. Well, one good thing that I did say for the second part, which is a small part. You know, I would try to remind you of Moses, try to remind you of the story with him and Kidda, where Moses asked a lot of questions. But Moses was curious. And I don't know if you read the story, if some of you understand. I'm going to just paraphrase it because it's kind of long. But Moses was on a journey, and he was trying to learn about patience. And he was with one of the prophets, or one of the persons who had plenty of knowledge at the time was Kidda. And basically, Moses went on this trip with him, and he was 3 acts being done. And with these 3 acts, Moses had 1,000 questions. And the man said to Moses, before we go on this journey, please don't ask me these questions. Wait till I'm finished and I'm going to answer your question. Moses being the person that after one thing happened, asked a question. After another thing happened, he asked another question. And the thing with Moses was that Moses didn't have patience at that time. Moses couldn't wait to find out the outcome. And the outcome was to not just repair a need, but to assist an orphan, to assist people that need. And this man, Kidda, was chosen to do this task. But Moses didn't know. Now, for you to understand what I'm saying, I'm going to give you the ayah. I'm going to give you the verses so that you can look it up. It's Surah 18, 65 to 82. And I'm going to give you the ending of it because it's just as important as anything else. It said, in the last few surahs, as for the youth, because this Moses was asking the stuff, his parents were people of faith, and we feared that he would grieve them by a sense of rebellion and ingratitude to Allah. So we desired that their Lord would give them in exchange a son, better in purity of conduct and closer in affection. As for the wall, it belonged to 2 youths, orphans in the town. There was beneath it a buried treasure to which they were entitled. Their father had been righteous men, so thy Lord desired that they should attain their age and full strength and get out their treasure and mercy and a favor from thy Lord. I did not of my own accord, such as the interpretation of those things over which thou hast unable to hold his patience. So this guy Kidder broke down the story to Moses why he did all these things. Moses, being humble at the time, said, "Oh, I'm sorry that I asked so many questions. I'm sorry that I didn't follow the instructions that I was given when we first started." And the instructions was, hold all questions until I'm finished. You will get a clear understanding, or I will reveal to you the purpose of my mission. How many times any of us, not understanding a mission, forgets and start asking questions before the mission is done? Not let us conclude or finish or follow out that which we need to do. And it goes also, Allah says in the book, in Surah 63:10. I'm sorry, I have to put these glasses on. This print is small. Everybody saving paper. But they're not saving my eyes. It says, those of you who reject faith and treat our signs as falsehood. Oh, that's the wrong one. That's right. So, it's 64. It's over here, I'm sorry. And spend something in charity out of the substance in which we have bestowed on you before death should come to any of you, and he should say, "O my Lord, why dost thou not give me respite for a little while? And I should have them, and I should then have given largely in charity, and I should have been one of the doers of good." And I went there for one reason. That's another principle that we talked about earlier. Charity. Charity always says starts at home. And how did Prophet Muhammad build on his charity? His believers at the time when he first started, they just got to know each other so they could find out who needs what. So, meaning that they brought food to each other. If that was the thought. They helped people get clothing. Our basic responsibility as individuals to our homes and everything else is food, clothing, shelter. And that may come with your life, it can come with your gas, it may come into just running to the aid of others. Then you'll go and work toward what? Higher learning, education. Well, basically, the masjid needs help. The masjid used to be the home where everything started. But you can't have a masjid if you can't afford a masjid. And that is what we're asking. We're asking to give what you can give. Not just because it's Masjid Al Hadi, but to keep a Masjid Al Hadi alive. We ask you to give because Allah tells us what you give to Him, He increases you tenfold. Allah increases you with wealth when you come to Him with a low spirit. Allah increases you with wealth when you help another soul. But, and for the masjid to function, for the masjid to, how you say, grow. In America, we need cash. You know, I'm just going to keep it, simple. I was talking to the brothers earlier, and I told them I like to go straight to the point. The point is, we have to keep building. We have to donate. We have to sacrifice. And we need people to do these things. I know everybody has a busy life. And we want you to have a busy life. But we also want you to have the best life. And the best life is what? In the book, it tells you, Yama Jumuah, put off all weight, and hasten earnestly to the praises of Allah. It also tells you, prepare for Jumuah before Jumuah starts. Some people go farther, and they learn that some people learn to wear the best attire to Jumuah. But sometimes the best attire to Jumuah is preparation. In order for us to have Jumu'ah, we have to have a masjid. Right now. In order for us to have a masjid, we need donations. I'm only saying that give all you can give. Be mindful that we are growing. Islam is growing in America. The concept of freedom, the concept of wanting for your brother for yourself, the concept or the understanding that Allah is ever present is awakening. Everybody don't want to say it, but we count. The Muslim world count. You know, it's important for us to know that in order for us to count, we have to make sure we're here. That people could come to us and ask us, who is your Lord? What is your religion? Who is your prophet? And then we can explain to them if we have a masjid, if we have a place to call to worship. I leave you with the thing that we started with is, who am I? I gave you titles, I gave you information about Muslim, I gave you information about slave, I gave you information about orphan. But the question is always the same thing, who am I? Am I Abdullah? Am I a servant of Allah? Some people are Muslims. They not only servants, but they are people to be followed because they follow what Allah says, not just His book. They follow Muhammad, and they are on the right path. With that, we're going to leave with Kakama to Salah, please. Assalamu alaikum.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Hayya ala salah, hayya ala salah.